UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Qualified, professional, and compassionate doctors talking real solutions to real health problems.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
Good evening, viewers. Today we'll talk about the mental health of children. Many people in Uganda do not think that children have mental health problems. But in fact, like any human being, they do suffer some mental health challenges. There are quite a number of things that may lead to the mental ill health of a child. And by a child, we mean those little people under the age of 18 years. And these are some of the things that may lead to a child having a mental health challenge. Some children may be born in families with genes that may determine a mental illness. When these children experience certain environments, they may end up having a mental illness because it is inbuilt in their genes. But a good number of children may suffer mental ill health and neurological disorders because of what's going on around them and the things that they suffer in their environment. For instance, we see quite a number of children who have suffered common physical conditions like malaria or meningitis or viral infections to the brain, what we call encephalitis, that causes them to end up in a mental institution because the effects on the brain determine that the brain does not develop properly. So they develop mental retardation. Some of those children also who suffer those kinds of early childhood infectious diseases and other brain conditions may also develop epilepsy or fits. These children may end up in mental health services because those neurological conditions may cause a change in their behavior that may need treatment in a mental health setting. There are many other causes. For example, the environments that children grow up in our homes. They are homes that are not conducive for a good mental health of a child. Homes especially where child are being abused, whether verbally or physically or psychologically or emotionally. Those children in those homes tend to end up with mental health challenges, especially emotional disorders like depression and anxiety. Homes where families have broken up, children get a lot of effects of breakup of families where they no longer have the care of both their parents and they have the worry of not having their parents around. They feel insecure and may develop mental health challenges. Schools that are abusive to children, where there's a lot of corporal punishment. Schools that have programs that are very stressful to children. Children do succumb to stress just like adults do. Schools that do not give children the opportunity to grow properly with, for example, play and with opportunities to socialize with their peers. Those kinds of school programs will cause mental health challenges and stress in children. Schools that do not allow children to sleep properly. A child will need not less than 6 hours of sleep. It is best when they're younger for them to have even 10 hours of sleep. So when schools have children in night prep up to 10 p.m. and then have them wake up at 4 a.m. for morning prep, that is definitely insufficient rest for a growing brain of a child. Those children may not grow up properly and may end up having mental health issues. And we have seen these mental health issues. Programs that do not allow play. Play is an important part of child development. All children must play. It is when they learn to interact. It is when they learn to relieve their stress. It is when they develop their functions, motor functions. It is healthy for children to play. It helps them also to sleep better. But school environments that do not allow play actually may lead to mental ill health of the children. Additionally, children with long-term illnesses. We have children, for example, with cancers, children with HIV, and adolescents. So children with long-term illnesses, such as those that I've mentioned, there are many others, may also end up having poor mental health. They have challenges coping with the physical illness, and they need a lot of support. Most especially if they do not have that support, that may be the problem. Children who lose parents and end up as orphans. Not all orphans have mental health challenges, but children who are orphaned need a parent figure. If they have a parent figure that fits in well as a parent, those children will grow up well and they will not have challenges. They may not have challenges. But children who don't have such a mother figure or father figure when they lose their real parent may have challenges coping with the rigors of growing up, and that may cause mental health problems. So the causes of mental health problems among children are many. Some stem from the family, others stem from school, but there are also those that stem from communities. Children who live around communities, for example, that easily sell alcohol and drugs without control, and children can access these things in that community, may end up using substances at a very early age. And alcohol and drugs of addiction do damage the brain, especially at an early age, especially when they are taken below the age of 21, some people say 25. They cause poor development of the brain and poor ability to cope with life. So it causes mental ill health among those children. So the causes revolve around what's going on in the families, what's going on in the schools where children go, and what goes on in the communities. All of those things may cause mental ill health among children. The proportion of children that have mental ill health in Uganda is not small. It is something to worry about. Recent studies that have been done by experts in mental health and education have found that up to 20%, in some cases more, 20% or more of children in our country may have one or the other mental health problem. Most of them are emotional problems like depression, anxiety, and sometimes alcohol use disorder. A recent study done in Mbale showed that in fact there are lots of children, primary school going children, who are using alcohol. That is sad, and it is one of the problems for mental health in children. So the numbers are big. In Butabiika Hospital, we run a clinic that hosts at least 100 attendances every week. The clinic runs once a week, and there are lots of children that come to our clinic. It is really overcrowded. We have a ward that admits children and adolescents, and this ward can accommodate between 30 and 40 patients. At any one time, this ward is full with children. So the problem of mental health in children is not a small one that we should neglect. Recently, we did a study at Butabiika Hospital and the Makerere University School of Public Health in 4 districts of Uganda, where we found that at least 30% of school-going children had emotional problems. That is depression and anxiety. 30%. Most of these were girl children. We need, therefore, to understand that children need help.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
You are watching the DOCtalk show.
Amanya gange nze Namutebi Sharon nga nkolera wano wennyini Saka Kirombe oba Makindye. Empangula gye nawanguddemu ssente mbadde nga nkozesa mobile money nga nsindika school fees w'omwana ku ssomero. Okutegeera nti mpangudde, nze mu mutima neegambye nti kambalinde bamale okujja ndyoke nzikirize nti mpangudde. Kyennyinza okubagamba nti si byabafere, weewaawo abafere gye bali, naye ennamba eri emu yokka era bw'eba ekukubidde omanya eyo si yabafere. Mpulira bulungi nnyo 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 era ndi musanyufu nnyo. Naye MTN mobile money mbebaza nnyo, mwebale nnyo, mwebalire.
Together, we're unstoppable. You are watching the DOCtalk show.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
As we earlier discussed, one of the conditions we deal with at Butabiika National Referral Mental Hospital is epilepsy. What we are seeing here is one of the tests we do to make a diagnosis of epilepsy and to see the type of epilepsy that one may be suffering in order to guide on the kind of treatment that we give. We call this test the EEG test or electroencephalogram. This test involves putting what we call electrodes, small little buttons, on the head of a patient who is suspected to have epilepsy. And these buttons pick brain waves that it reflects onto a screen, similar to a computer screen, that shows us that this person might have an abnormality in their brain waves or not. Different tracings of the brain will show us the different types of epilepsy. So we write a report at the end of this test to the referring doctor so that it guides on the nature of treatment that we give.
As our executive director has told you about this procedure, the electroencephalography. So what usually happens, we get our patient, and then the patient, there are things that we need to do before the procedure is done. For example, if the patient has been on medicine, we usually take a period of at least 24 hours when the patient is not on medicine. So even what happens, we do what we call sleep deprivation. So we make sure at least for the last 6 to 8 hours, the patient has not had sleep. That is going to help us during the procedure in that we are able to see any abnormalities as we are carrying out this test. So when this patient comes here, of course, we do the normal routines, the procedures, we check to see whether the patient was on medicines, we take the history to find out exactly whether they have been having seizures or not, and if the seizures have been there, the nature of the seizure. So as we bring the patient, so we clean the patients, the entire head, it must be clean. Because usually we use the electrodes. These are what we call the electrodes. And then we also have other electrodes here. So this is the gel that we can use. And this gel, it simply helps us to clean the areas where we are going to put. And these are our electrodes. These are the small pins we can put on different parts of the brain. So what happens after cleaning, then we use this cream. This cream, it's a good conductor of electricity. It helps us to make sure that at least that wherever we are going to put the electrodes, we clean, and then later on we apply this gel. Then we apply the electrodes. So what you are seeing now, our electrodes have already been placed, but we just put on this bandage because you never know during the procedure, the patient might have some movements. So we basically put on this bandage to make sure that those electrodes are in place. So afterwards, there are a number of things we do, and then we make the patient open the eyes, close the eyes, and then there is this light you are seeing here. It is what we call, it helps us to see. The effect of lights usually if someone has seizures, there are patients who have what we call the photosensitive epilepsy. So this procedure is after evoking any seizures in case they are there. So this is why you see now the effect of this light. If someone has what we call photosensitive epilepsy, chances are that this patient may get a seizure, and we shall be able to see this seizure on this screen here. So afterwards, there are some also other activities we might tell the patient to do, like for example, what we call hyperstimulation. We tell the patient to breathe very fast, and that will be able to help us to see whether the patient has a seizure. I mean, we might see here some sort of cables for electricity, but we don't use electricity per se. It's harmless. So and even the patient, as you apply, there is no kind of any sort of pain. So mommy is only seated here just to make sure that our patient is comfortable. So sometimes when these clients of ours come and then they're with their relatives, it makes them to take away that fear, and then the procedure, it is done.
But of recent, we've acquired a new machine. So now, since we are more than 2 technicians, we can handle a bigger number because we have 2 machines. But initially, we are having 1 machine, and the demand is high. Maybe to add on that, this is just a lab. There are very many patients who are seen down there, but those ones who are referred for this test, since it's a lab, they are the ones I'm talking about, the numbers I'm talking about. So now with this new machine, we can double the number that we've been seeing in a day. So we urge the community to bring the patients here. It's not gambling, this is medicine. And in this way, we are able to test our people in the community and give conclusive reports to ease the management of epilepsy.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
You are watching the DOCtalk show.
Hey, business people of Uganda, the Ugandan National Lottery is here for you. It's the perfect opportunity to boost your business. Zimba your business by becoming an authorized Uganda National Lottery agent. By paying a security deposit of just 250,000 shillings, you will receive your very own Uganda National Lottery terminal, expert training from the pros themselves, and marketing materials to skyrocket your sales. And with a generous 5% commission on every ticket sold, the potential for earnings is limitless. Don't miss out. Act now and call us toll-free at 0800 33 44 33 to see if you qualify. Join us today and Zimba your business. Ituba Uganda is regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
You are watching the DOCtalk show.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
Hello people, I'm Nanyombi Proscovia, Assistant Nursing Officer, working with children and adolescents. We work on children from 1 month or 0 months to 18 years of age. We work on all conditions of childhood disorder as far as psychiatry. We have very many conditions we handle, and admission depends on what the doctor has seen. If the doctor assesses and see that the child has to be on ward, to be observed, to get treatment, he can be admitted with a relative for some period. When he settles down, they discharge that person. They are those ones whom the doctor assesses and sees these people can be managed as outpatients. We work as a team. We have doctors, we have clinical officers, we have psychologists, we have social workers, and all these people work depending on what the doctor has recommended them to do. So the nurses on the ward level, for us, when the children are brought, we give them the medicine they have prescribed. We do behavioral training because they are those ones with intellectual disability. Those ones, they need structured program. If someone has can't do daily activities of living, like bathing, self-care, brushing, so we are the one to do that. We try to train, and for those ones who can't do it totally, we have to do it. It is our duty. Where I'm standing now, this is the boys' dormitory. The girls also sleep the other side, and we manage from the ward, the one we admit, it is a school-going age from 6 years to 18 years. We've now started admitting children with their parents such that it can help us in quick recovery. It is also one of the things which can help giving the child support and for the quick recovery of the child. Where we are now, it is our pre-therapy room. And when children are here, they can enjoy music and they dance. We can give them different games, Ludo. We can give them chess for those ones who can play. We can give them pictures such that they can do painting. And there are those ones who can read the storybooks. But when they are here, there are some simple activities, as in which are done at school. So when they come here, we get our paint, we mix it, and at least learns these things. And these things are so colorful, and when the children at times look at them, they get excited, and it's so interesting. Whenever they are doing it, it can also improve on their mental state, and also they feel that they are appreciated. We usually draw or get the real things which are needed when we are brushing. You get a toothbrush, you get water, you get toothpaste, and you bring. So you will be directing the child, this is a toothbrush. When you get it, you have to put toothpaste. This is water. You have to do this as you demonstrating to the child. Then you give such that he will do it as you are watching. And this is done on daily basis until when the child grasps it well, such that he can be doing it alone and alone. As I had talked earlier, we encourage exercise, and The games we have indoor games where we've been, and here, this is their playground. As you're seeing, those swings, mostly they are those ones who come when they are anxious, they are tensed. So they go there, they swing as they meditate.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
You are watching the DOCtalk show.
The National Youth Council of Uganda informs the general public that due to unforeseen circumstances, the celebrations to commemorate the 30 years of the National Youth Council, initially scheduled for Friday 12th July 2024 in Luwero district, have been postponed until further notice. We regret any inconveniences caused.
Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow, the subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched in gold.
You are watching the DOCtalk show.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
What can we do? Children are growing beings that need to be protected, supported, and educated. When these things are missing, children may suffer. Children have developmental ill health because they have not been protected. Children have been abused sexually and physically. We hear about corporal punishment in schools, which government of Uganda has banned. We thank the Ministry of Education for that. We hear lots of teenage pregnancies. Following COVID, lots of young people, young girls got pregnant. It means children are not being protected by society. And that is one of the causes of childhood mental health problems. So we need to protect our children. We need to provide for them. Children who grow up in areas where they can't even eat properly, there's no food, their mental state will not be healthy because they're not developing properly physically and mentally. They need to be clothed, they need to be given shelter, they need to be provided for so that they grow normally. At home, we need to listen to our children. They have challenges sometimes, and they need someone to bounce them off, an adult who can allay their anxieties. Otherwise, they grow up feeling stressed and very insecure. So our parenting skills need to be in such a way that it supports a good mental health of the children that we are raising. Children need to be educated. We need to give information to children, say in a school setting, but also in the community, that certain things are risky and they shouldn't engage in them because their mental health will be affected. Behaviors such as indiscriminate sexual activity at a very young age, which may cause them to get illnesses that may impact their mental ill health, or that may kill their self-esteem and impact their mental health, but also alcohol and drugs. They should not use these things. So all those come out of educating children properly, both in school and out of school, but also educating children in a healthy way so that the school environment does not impact a child's mental health just because they are in school. And this is something we need to look at very, very well. How do you know that a child has mental health challenges? Children are growing beings, as we said. They do not have all the resources an adult may have to deal with certain situations. They don't sometimes have the vocabulary to express themselves, especially when they are younger. And they may not have the resources to even understand what is going on with them. But they do feel unwell psychologically and mentally. What happens is when they feel unwell, they express it in a behavior manner. For very young children, they may be irritable, they may be crying, they may complain of illnesses in parts of their body, which for them they know. Like, my stomach is paining all the time, my stomach is paining, or my head is paining. And yet, the problem may not be in the head or the stomach, but that is what they know. They may have behavior problems. They start acting out, throwing tantrums that are not age appropriate. For example, if you find an adolescent throwing tantrums, there's a problem. While for a child who is 2 or 3 years, that may be normal part of development. So because this adolescent may not know how to express themselves, they act out. They go drinking or smoking, drugs. They can sometimes become rebellious. They may also withdraw from the public or even from their family members, and they withdraw into themselves. They lose interest in things, in school, in activities with peers, and some children actually drop out of school because of that. So they express their mental health discomfort in a behavior manner, which as parents or people caring for the children, we need to be able to pick up. They may also have other symptoms of mental illness that, like talking too much, being aggressive, that is part of acting out. And most recently, we are seeing children killing themselves, which is very unfortunate, committing suicide. That is a sign of extreme stress. When you see these kinds of symptoms in children, seek the help of a professional. One of the other signs that we normally see in children when they have mental ill health is deterioration in school performance. Sometimes that is the first sign. And it is important that teachers and educators get to know this and raise these issues to parents so that the children can get help. When they are referred to us, we do an assessment, a detailed assessment, because we take them as human beings. We assess their mental health, but we also assess their physical health and find out whether there are those conditions physically that may be impacting their mental health. So we do comprehensive assessments of these children. Basing on the assessments, we then recommend for treatment. But children are not like adults. A lot of the time, the conditions we treat in children, we do not use medication, although in some of the conditions, medication is the only thing you can use to help. But children are growing beings, as I said earlier, and they need a lot of other supports to be able to improve from their mental health challenges. One of them is play therapy. We talked about the importance of play in the development of children. So we use play, we use art therapy to manage the children. We also engage families. It is part and parcel of the treatment we have for children. We must engage families. We train families on how to handle these children, how to support them, for them to be able to improve well. And we provide psychological support, like counseling. Some children do need counseling, child-appropriate counseling. So we give treatment for the children themselves, but also we give treatment for the families where these children are growing up. It is a comprehensive package for children. It's not just about the medication. In fact, for children, medication, except where it is definitely indicated, medication is a small part of treatment. Behavior management is big. Play, art, and family therapy are very important for children. Thank you very much for listening.
This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from partners.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.